Welcome to Healthy Life. In for Dr. Timothy Johnson, I'm Dr. Jacques Moritz. A popular marketing campaign by the dairy industry links dairy product foods like milk, cheese with weight loss. However, the Federal Trade Commission says their ad slogans, including milk your diet, lose your weight, may not have enough research to back them up. Joining us for more insight is Dr. Neil Barnard. He's president of the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. Welcome, doctor.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Well, let's get into this a little bit more. This was a campaign by the dairy industry, which we can understand wants to sell milk, but it was also approved by the United States Department of Agriculture. Do they have the same interest, and how does the federal government get involved with the Dairy Council?
Regrettably, the federal government has long been involved in dairy promotion activities, and so the federal government, along with the dairy industry, launched a campaign around 2003, and it was active in 2004 and since that time, to suggest that if people added milk to their diet, they might lose weight more effectively than if they just dieted. However, the scientific studies are clear on this. Milk does not cause weight loss. If anything, milk and cheese and other dairy products cause weight gain. So starting in 2005, my organization, the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, filed a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission. They then ruled about a week ago to say, well, you know what? Milk does not help you lose weight. It's time to stop those deceptive ads.
Okay, let's look at your organization just to be fair. Now, as I understand, your organization really is against any type of animal products in the diet. Is that correct?
Well, let's go further.
Okay.
Our organization is a health-related organization, so we talk about the risks of animal products, but we go farther than that. There are risks of fried foods, sugar, high sugar foods, and things like that. So the answer is absolutely, we want healthful diets. And I'm sorry to say that the dairy industry has been one of the worst violators because they've been really twisting the science along the way.
But how does it even get to the point where someone can make a claim like that? There was no scientific basis for this. I read one study that said that it may, but how do we get from it may to it does?
Well, I can't put myself in the dairy industry's mind, but I'll tell you what the science shows. There have been 11 randomized clinical trials that have looked at the effect of dairy products on weight. And by this I mean you bring people in, half of them have dairy products in their diet and the others don't have it. And to follow the dairy industry's claim, everybody was on a low-calorie diet, but some of them had a diet including milk, some not. And there were 3 studies that seemed to show that milk would help with weight loss. Now, all 3 studies, however, were done by somebody, one single person, one researcher in Tennessee, who was paid by the dairy industry, and moreover, he patented the claim that having milk as part of your diet would facilitate weight loss. So every time the dairy industry made this claim, he would get paid. So it sounds like he might be biased. Well, then other researchers have weighed in. The 8 other studies all showed that milk didn't seem to work at all. It might even cause you to gain weight. Bottom line, the research that has been done is really being looked at in the context of all the other studies that show it just doesn't work.
Okay.
But I think we need to go a step further, though. It's not just a question of does milk cause weight loss or not. Obviously it doesn't. But what about all the other claims?
Well, that's what I was just going to get into. A lot of people are either encouraged, and I was starting off in school with the little milk containers, or in ads that milk has calcium, milk is good for your bones, drink milk, and even the USDA, again, we come back to the Agricultural Department, pyramid has actually increased the number of servings of milk and increased it. So what about the other health benefits?
Well, I think it's really a question of what are the other health risks. We published a study in 2005 in the journal Pediatrics by the American Academy of Pediatrics, where we looked at all the evidence as to whether or not milk helps build strong bones. So in other words, do kids who drink milk have stronger bones than kids who don't drink milk? And the answer is the milk doesn't actually help at all. Don't get me wrong. You do need calcium. But there are many foods that provide calcium. Beans, green vegetables, fortified foods, many others. And the kids who get the milk don't get any advantage over the other kids. Now, you do need maybe at least 600 or so milligrams of calcium per day, something like that. But wherever you're getting it from any food, you're going to have adequate bone development. And if you go more than that, there isn't any added benefit of adding milk at all. At the other end of life, many older women will consume milk to avoid osteoporosis. And there again, it doesn't work. At Harvard, there has been an 18-year-long nurses' health study that showed that the women who drink milk have no protection against hip fractures compared to the women who avoid milk. So bottom line, we should skip it. There's an additional body of evidence of risks of milk. Several large studies have shown that milk-drinking men have more prostate cancer. The prostate cancer seems to relate to hormonal effects of milk in their system. So if you think about it, what's milk for? Milk is designed by nature to help a calf grow very rapidly and to gain weight very rapidly, and it contains hormones and growth factors that can be harmful to human beings. So the idea is, bottom line, kids should be breastfed with human breast milk after the age of weaning. There's no need for milk of any type, certainly not cow's milk.
And what about some replacements for calcium? You went through a few of them, but what about calcium pills and calcium supplements like that? Is there anything wrong with that?
I don't think they're necessary at all. First of all, kids should have green leafy vegetables and beans in their diet. Now, you don't arm wrestle with a child. If the child doesn't like spinach, well, you find healthy ones that the child will like. The kids will eat green beans and things like that. Or they might have spinach leaves in their salad, whereas they don't like it when it's cooked. Whatever the foods are, all kids like baked beans, for example, or a bean burrito. So bring these things into your routine. If a person wants calcium supplements, they can use them, but don't go too far with that. There is some evidence that calcium from any source, dairy or not, if it's in very high levels, might be the reason why we're seeing this link between milk and prostate cancer. It might be the high levels of calcium.
And just one real quick question, but myself and I think the viewers out there have a problem because we have the USDA, which is trying to increase milk production for the farmers, and we have you, which is really trying to tell people the risks of eating animal byproducts. How do we balance this? You have your interest, they have their interest. Where's the middle ground here?
Well, our group, I guess I should say our mission as doctors, is really to get a truthful message out there. And so we bring our message to the federal government. We all know that the government is trying to promote American agricultural practices. Your average consumer who's concerned about the health of their children really needs to look at what the health effects of these are. And I think what you're going to see is that the pyramid is going to start de-emphasizing milk. These ads are history, and the dairy industry is going to start promoting its products in the way the tobacco industry promotes theirs. You may like them, but there's not a health reason to have them.
Okay, great. Dr. Barnard, thank you for joining us.
Sure. Thank you.